We are live, everybody. We are live. We are live. So thank you all for tuning in for another episode of the Let's Heal podcast. As y'all see, I have Schollar, the artist, in the building. So y'all stay right there. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody. So we are back. We are back. We are back. Let me turn those on. And like I said before, thank you all for tuning in for Let's Heal podcast. This is Tyrell, and today our guest is Schollar, the artist. Y'all, yay! Schollar, he's here. And the reason why I brought him on here is because he is doing something really amazing. And as y'all know, Let's Heal is all about mental health. It's all about love, life, and lessons over here. And just watching him and his new project, it tapped in, and when he showed me about it. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? I'm gonna let you do some talking, introduce yourself, and we'll get right to it. I got some questions for you. I got some demos and things like that. So you go ahead and tell everybody who you are.
I am Schollar, the artist. I go by many names, but that's the name that you're meeting me with today.
Yeah.
Many names, right? But no, Schollar, the artist. I've been doing music now for a little bit over a year and a half. Prior to that, I was still in the arts. I was doing fashion, and then prior to that was graphic design. So always some art. Prior to that, it was dancing.
Right.
But I am a St. Louis native, Atlanta traveled, Baton Rouge living, Dallas stationed artist.
Okay, all right. So what is your background before we get into music? Because I didn't realize that your background was so different from just like music and arts and things. So tell us about your background, and then we'll get into what got you into music.
All right. Well, born in Germany, raised in St. Louis. Began dancing at the age of 8.
Okay.
Did that. I was doing jazz and tap. Got into high school and was doing choir. Left high school and got right back into dance. Danced for 10 years and then retired.
Okay.
Went back to school, got a degree in graphic design, moved to Atlanta. Worked in Atlanta branding some of the top fashion designers there in Atlanta. And that piqued my interest with fashion. And I actually started to care about kind of how I look.
Okay.
Taught myself how to sew, started doing shows in the South, Baton Rouge, Dallas, Houston, New Orleans. And then I got here to Dallas after I got sick of all those floods in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
And actually I was still doing fashion. I was still sewing and everything.
Okay.
Doing wedding dresses and prom dresses and bridal parties and all of that stuff. And then, the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So just the overall creative, y'all hear he's overall creative. He has done fashion, he sews, he dances, and now he's doing music, and that's why he is here. And I can't see a lot of the comments. I usually be able to see the comments, but I'm holding my phone so I get to see the comments. So if y'all are able to comment, they on here introducing themselves. Hey, everybody who is watching, I see y'all watching. So what took you from the fashion, the dancing to music, and more importantly, so deep into music when it comes to mental health and being connected to it? What got you to that point?
Going into the pandemic, I actually had a friend who's an artist, B. Jarrell, shout out to him. He featured me on one of his songs, and that's kind of what triggered it because I was very hesitant to do it. My brother does music. He played, he taught me how to play the guitar. This is actually a gift from him sitting behind me.
Okay. So you
I
play
would,
the guitar too? Jesus, look at that, y'all.
I would kind of get into it with church a little bit when I was in St. Louis and everything, but I would always my confidence was lagging when it came to my expression of music and everything. And it was probably because it was a little bit less sincere, because I was doing it for other people and not for myself.
Right.
Last year, given the pandemic, almost every avenue of expression that I had was cut.
Okay. The dance, the sewing, everything that had to do with interfering with people.
Interacting with people. It was all cut. And so going into spending time with myself, because that's basically what the pandemic forced a lot of us to do. We had to spend time with ourselves. And I used to try to avoid spending time with myself. Because spending time with myself means that I have to deal with all the stuff that I'm able to not deal with when I'm not spending time with myself, right?
Ain't that it? Ain't that it?
So going into it, I realized, wow, this is a really good way to express yourself, emotionally express yourself. I'm able, if I can get how I'm feeling to, out in a creative manner, because writing poetry wasn't going to be enough because there was no place that I could recite it. But and so I started with my first project, which was Ing, and I just needed to feel good.
And is that the first?
That's the
EP, because I did see some other stuff on YouTube. So if y'all are on YouTube, he's got music on YouTube. We're gonna give y'all some clips today. But anyway, go ahead.
No. So you can find it. It's on YouTube, iTunes, Tidal, Spotify, you name it, it's there. Amazon Music, YouTube Music, it's everywhere. I made sure it's everywhere. But it was one of those things where I needed to feel good. So my first album I did for me, right? Okay. In the sense that I didn't do it to share with other people.
Okay.
I did it for myself. I listened to that album 2-3 times a day, every day. Because it kept me in a happy space while I was dealing with all of the stuff that I knew I had to deal with while I was by myself.
Right.
It created a safe space for me.
Yeah, definitely.
And when I realized how much music had created a safe space for me, I realized that, hey, you have a place now where you can go that's incubated, right? Where you can really dive into the stuff that you've ignored over the past 20 years.
Right.
And where you can deal with it and still come out of it happy.
So when you did that first project that you said was that you made for yourself, it must have been therapeutic. I mean, because from going from poetry to putting it into music, which means that you not only had to write the words, but now you got to come up with the beats, which is a whole nother craft, a whole nother art form, because coming up with beats and recording and things like that, it's not easy. That's why I don't do it. I already do enough stuff, and I would love to learn how to play the guitar. And as a matter of fact, I said I was going to buy me a guitar and just, play a little bit, but I don't want to add that to my things to do, even though I think I still might, just because. So it had to be therapeutic to you it was almost like a journal, like a musical journal.
It definitely was. I was able to get rid of the sexual frustration that I had been carrying.
Right.
Because I was not going out of my house to see anybody for any reason at all.
Right.
I was able to do that through music. I was able to express that feeling. I was able to tell my father some stuff that I don't think he ever knew. Just an appreciation about him.
Okay.
Musically, because my dad was a DJ. So
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
I still had back in St. Louis, I still have all of his records out, like
Wow.
vinyls and everything. So I was able to kind of get that out, and that made me feel good. Again, remember
Yeah.
that first project, I needed to feel good. Um, God, man, I wanted to dance. I was able to create something that, you know, today's dance doesn't resonate with who I am.
Right. Right.
It's very gimmicky, very catchy, very
Yeah.
everybody can do it. It's very
Yeah.
inclusive. And I
Yeah.
come from a time where dance wasn't inclusive. You actually had to have some talent to be able to.
Right. Right. I think the whole music industry, dance, sing, rap, everything had to have, and I think it's definitely watered down
Yeah, yeah,
as time goes on, and it's hard to find people who actually connect with feelings through their artistry.
right. Yeah. So
So
there was that. So no, on the therapy side, when I tell you I was able to just like I need to feel good, and this is what makes me feel good.
right.
I was able to reminisce. I was able to that first project really gives you a 90s sound,
Yeah.
which is missing. And that's what I needed, something nostalgic, something to remind me of something that can take my mind outside of the present, because last year during the pandemic and everything that went on, I did not want to be present.
So you okay, and that was the first project. So
That was
what
the
are
first
some of the
project.
songs? Like how long did it take you to do the first project? I didn't even collect any of the music from the first projects to,
Yeah,
how
no,
long
it's
did
okay.
it take?
It's okay. Look, the first project took me probably about 6 weeks.
Wow.
Took me about
Okay,
6 weeks.
Beyonce status, write music.
Yep, it took me about
Like
six
from
weeks.
from 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 thought process paper to organizing music, all of that in 6 weeks.
6 weeks. But the reason being, the one thing that I love about music and I loved about this was something that I could do with others without necessarily needing to be present.
Right, right, right.
So I was able to work with other producers who had beats and stuff, and other singers who were able to jump on songs and stuff, and then take the track and do everything right here in the comfort of my own home
Right.
without having to risk being sick or spreading something had I had it or anything like that. I was able to be completely safe, but still interact and work with people. It's the one good thing about music. I was the only child for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I have this thing where I don't like to operate on my own all the time. And that's not because I can't operate on my own. It's just that it's so nice to have some other energy around you.
Right.
And so that's kind of what triggered that first project. And so yeah, no, 6 weeks, I was ready to go. It's done.
So okay, so here's a difficult question, and it's probably gonna be difficult, because I like music. I like really good music, and I like words to music. You have a lot of people who are beat driven. I'm
Mm-hmm.
word driven when
Yeah.
it comes to music. Like I'm listening to the words before I listen to the beat. So because I'm a word person, what verse in your first project means the most to you? I want you to recite it and I want you to explain it.
Okay. Let's see. Oh God, man.
See, I told you. I told you.
Man, look, man, let me cheat real quick.
And while he's looking, I'm saying, hey, Mike, hey, Miss Bates, Regina, and my mom is on too. So, hey, mom. So, everybody, and I see a couple other people on.
You know what? I think from that one,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with. I did a song called "Your Love."
Okay.
It's very, it's very over the seas pop, hip hop beat.
Yeah.
I think Brianna Wertinen is the young lady who sung the chorus and everything. But it's the second part where I began talking. It says, "Galaxy, my request, no mistake. It's not a test. We're meant to be. We're not a test. Just relax, baby, rest. Poetry is art of word, so scream out loud, say that verb. I will do unto you, just love me now."
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
So now break that down to people what it meant to you.
so for as long as I can recall, I've always been told that my heart is very resilient.
Mm-hmm.
I have a resilient heart, but part of that is because when I love, I give everything that I have, so
Right.
that if it doesn't work out, I have no question in my mind that I didn't do anything because I did everything.
Right.
Right. So if it doesn't work out, it just doesn't work out. So
Right.
at this point in that song, I'm saying, hey, where we are right now in this world, it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Love does not have to be a test. It's not a love isn't supposed to be trials and tribulations. The world is that. Love is supposed to cushion you from that.
Right. It's supposed to be nurturing.
It's a nurturing space. It's
Right.
not a place. It's not a testing space. It's a
Yeah.
nurturing space.
Yeah.
And so it's saying that, and it's saying, hey, if you tell me that you would love me, say
Mm-hmm.
that verb, because to me, love is an action word.
Right.
Then I'll do unto you as you do to me and give you everything I have. So it was the declaration. And I
Okay, okay. And that's, because I feel like I said, I'm a words person. And when I'm listening to songs, I'm always like, where does my mind go when I'm hearing these words? Because even with Let's Heal, I started Let's Heal because I'm like, I can't be the only person thinking like this. I can't be the only person going through these emotional changes and roller coasters, ups and downs and explorations and things like that when it comes to healing. So that's why I created Let's Heal, because it gives me an opportunity to connect with other people through my words, through the podcast, through, things like that. So that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. So I got a list of questions here and I'm trying to figure out which one I want to ask next. Okay, here's one. So out of all of the things that you got going on, out of all the talents that you have, out of all the artistry that you have, what would you say is the one talent that you feel like is that you possess it, but you don't use it enough? You know what I'm saying? Like what? Because it makes you happy when it's there, but it's always like I don't need it right now. It's like a go-to. It's almost like a pacifier. Nothing is satisfying me until I go back to this space. What would be that talent?
Probably sewing.
Okay.
Yeah, sewing. I've gotten away from that because the people that customers, consumers, they pushed me away from wanting to be involved with other people.
Right.
Again, I was doing it for them. I wasn't doing it for me.
Right.
Because it became a money-driven thing.
Right.
And so I had to take my talent back for myself. I had to own it. It got to a point to where I had let other people own my craft.
Yeah.
And so I had to take my ownership of that back. I don't do it often. I started actually sewing for myself, which was a first, because I wasn't sewing for me. It was always for the women, and some men, but it was always for the clients. It wasn't for me.
Right.
I started creating for myself, which is, it brings me back to music. The music, I was doing it for myself. I wasn't doing it, or I'm not doing it for anybody else.
Because sewing is definitely you're sewing what they want you to do. The music is more of what you want to do. Yeah,
exactly. Definitely. So that I stopped doing it. But when I sit in front of that sewing machine, I get to zone out and I get to create something. And within a day's time, you can see a finished product from start to end. And one of the things that I struggled with growing up is I'm a Gemini. My mind goes everywhere. And after I feel that I've mastered something, I no longer have a desire to finish it.
Right.
And so I had all these unfinished things in my life, but here it is with sewing. This is something I can see as a finished product.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so through sewing, I built the habit of finishing things.
Okay.
That
you have to finish, especially if it's somebody else's vision and what they want. Yeah, you gotta finish it.
You gotta finish it. And through that, I carried that over into my music, into my relationships.
Okay.
Into my friendships, into my living, to finish things. Don't leave things unfinished.
So what was one of the biggest lessons, or should I say the hardest lesson after your first project that you had to learn about yourself? Because nothing's constant but change.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, as long as you're learning, you're growing. And a lot of times it's hard to learn things about ourselves until we're like, oh,
Yeah.
that is me.
So I think the hardest thing, not to learn, but to cope with, was that I was not okay.
Meaning
emotionally,
right,
mentally,
yeah,
geographically,
yeah,
artistically, I was not okay. I was functioning. I was functioning at a very high level, but all of that function, everything that I was doing was to cover up the fact that I'm not okay.
Right. It almost becomes like you're just waking up and kind of fitting into the flow of things. You know what I'm saying? Like you look in the mirror and you're like, yeah, I trust me. I've been there where it's like, I'm just doing it and I'm doing it very well. But this is not where I want to be and what I should be doing. So trust me, I definitely get it. So, okay, we're going to jump into this new project, y'all. So, and before we jump into the new project, I have a couple clips of his music. So I want y'all to listen to the music. And I'm going to do one now and I'll do one later on. But this first one, we're going to listen to a clip of it. He doesn't know what we're going to hear. And then I'll have him go in and explain to us, because what's the name of this new project? What's the name of your new project?
The new project is called Professor X.
Okay.
EX. X.
So it's called Professor X. So here it is, y'all. Let's listen.
Why? Who you let steal your joy? You think it's about time you steal it back? I'm just telling you what I know. I mean, live your life, best life. I mean, who really want to walk around sad, almost to be angry all the time? Vibe with me. Seeking happy ever after. Your story was so bright, filled with joy, filled with laughter. But someone came along and took away your energy. You thought they were the one, but they were just an enemy. Disguised as an angel with wings. Those destructive wings blew away all your things. That's when you first started to hold on to cling. Inevitably binding yourself with strings. Don't let anyone change your ways. Don't let anyone make your character stray. Just let go of what others put off on you. And just let go of their definitions too. The theme of your life should be Disney. Don't be like Goldilocks, that past can be grisly. Those things hibernate deep inside of your essence. Let go of your anger, grab onto your blessings. I mean, like God's trying to hand you a better you. But you clinging on to that old stuff.
Yeah.
Step out your...
Yeah.
Wow.
Step out your comfort zone. Vibe with me.
Yeah, so tell everybody what that song is called.
That's Let It Go. That
Let
is
It
the
Go.
last song.
That song stood out to me when I was going on the list, and I was like, let it go. If I don't tell people to do that all the time. And I played one verse. If y'all want to go to YouTube and listen to the rest of it, it's on YouTube, and he has an amazing website. But explain to everybody what Let It Go is all about.
There's a picture that was circulating, a meme.
Mm-hmm.
It was a kid who was holding on to a tattered teddy bear.
Okay.
And in front of that kid was God.
Mm-hmm.
And God had a bigger, better teddy bear behind his back.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen that.
You've seen that? And so Let It Go is just saying that how can you receive what's yours if you're holding on to what's not?
You know what? I'm about to come through the screen on you. Don't take us to church. Not tonight. I ain't ready.
Yeah, it talks about, I'm going to answer this question when I answer, you asked what was my favorite lyrics. I'm gonna give you my favorite verse in this line. I have two favorite lines.
Okay.
The first one is that it says, "Disguised as an angel with wings, those destructive wings blew away all your things." And that's when you started to hold on to cling.
Yeah.
That's talking about being romantically involved with someone that you're not meant to be with.
Ooh.
Too often we misconstrue our attraction to people.
Yeah.
Sometimes, most often, we'll take that attraction and we think that attraction is a physical attraction, which puts us in relationships we're not supposed to be in.
Right.
And so you see this person and everything about them is bright and light. They're just, and it is, disguised as an angel with wings.
Right.
But then you realize that once that person starts flapping their wings, that those wings are doing more damage than beauty.
Yeah.
And then so when that person comes and they huff and puff and blow your house down, you start trying to hold on to your things. You know what I mean?
Right.
The things that are right in front of you, and it's saying, let that stuff go. It's not yours.
Yeah.
So, the second part of that, at the end, it says, "How can you fight your wars if your hands are full?"
Yeah.
Your hands are so full, you can't fight what's coming at you.
Exactly.
So you're just steadily taking blows because you won't let it go to stop.
To protect yourself, right?
To protect yourself. You have to let that stuff go in order to do that. So that's what that song was.
Wow. Yeah. When I saw the title, I was like, I gotta listen to this. I got to. And then I have to play it, because even just that first, like after you sang and then you went right into, your speaking, I was like, if this right here don't speak to somebody about whatever emotional battle, because, a lot of times, like you said, we get distracted by an appearance of that protection, of an appearance of somebody who's going to nurture and love us the way that we feel like we deserve to be loved. And then when it comes time to make that decision to protect yourself, it's like, what am I willing to leave behind in order to protect myself and move forward? Because that's what I got from that song. I was like, it basically is like, we all had to let something go at some point to choose ourselves.
I've personally, I've watched my mother be hurt continuously by the relationships that she's chosen. I've watched her invest so much into it that at the end of the day, it's not that she's trying to hold on to the person, but I've watched her try to hold on to her time that she's invested, which is connected to that person. If I let this relationship go, then everything that I've done
is a waste.
And it's in vain. I know, and so there's a lot of hurt that comes with that, because nobody wants to sow into land and then leave it. Right. Sometimes you have to. You have to.
You definitely have to. And I think that's a lot of people's relationship status now. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of people who are in toxic situations, and because they've invested time and they've learned how to make excuses for people's shortcomings, or not even their shortcomings, because a lot of times, you have people who come into your life that are meant to be there, like they say, for a reason or a season. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we all make people who were supposed to be gone years ago still be a part of our life. And it ends up hurting us more because we're holding on to a situation that we should let go of 10 seasons ago.
10 seasons ago, yeah.
So, yeah, that's crazy. So I'm asking another question. What has been your favorite song to record on either one of your projects?
Favorite song, Do Better.
And that's on the first or the second?
That's the second project. The first song on the second project.
Okay.
Do Better.
Yeah, I didn't choose that one for the next one because we do have another clip of music. I ain't gonna give y'all nothing else, but he said Do Better is his favorite song. And now tell us why that is your favorite song, because like I said, I don't have that clip, but we need people to go listen to that.
That song was the song that catapulted and carried and what's the word I'm looking for? Influenced the second project.
Okay.
I was minding my own business.
Minding your own bald-headed business.
Skin was glowing. Teeth was shining.
Yeah.
Flourishing in my craft.
Yeah.
Smiling. Heart was smiling.
Yeah.
And an ex of mine liked one of my pictures.
And tore you up, didn't it?
Tore me up.
Tore you up. Yeah.
Tore me up. Because it started this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I want to see how they're doing. Here's the thing. It didn't end badly. The relationship that me and that person shared didn't end badly. It just ended. And that hurt.
Right.
But I didn't deal with it. I hadn't dealt with it. And so here we are, 17, 13, 14 years later.
Yeah.
And you still have the power to ruin my day.
Whew.
That's not your power to have.
Not at all. And I have that conversation with people all the time when they say, well, my ex walked in the room and I'm going to leave. And I'm like, but why? That means that you have not healed from something in that situation that you have to face that is still there. Something's connected that's keeping you right there.
It's still
whether
there.
You want to deny it or not. If somebody has that much power over you just by coming into a room, or just by, in your case, liking a picture.
So I immediately, after I went down that rabbit hole, I immediately pulled out my emotional troposphere formula sheet.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the emotional troposphere too, because we do have a little copy of that too, what he's talking about. So y'all can look at that. And
I sat down and I started doing that exercise. I wrote in my head specifically, I told myself, write a memory about this person and how it makes you feel. And then I had to ask myself, have I allowed myself to feel these feelings? Because I personally, one of the healing things that I had to understand how I cope or don't cope.
Right.
And that's the thing. I don't cope. I have this fear that if I allow myself to feel things like hurt and anger, really emotions that can really render you useless to the world, make you want to just stay in the bed and never get up. Those emotions, if I experience those, the world will pass me by.
Yeah.
And so I would push a lot of things back. I wouldn't feel it. And so I realized that I never allowed myself to be angry with that situation.
Yeah.
I never allowed myself to be angry with that person. And more so, I never allowed myself to be angry with myself.
Right.
And once I allowed myself to be angry and you start, I had to turn it. So I'm yelling at myself. So I go through this song and I talk about the last day we spent together. And then I talked about, in the second verse, I talk about everything that we went through in order to get through that. But I also come to the realization, because I'm now yelling at myself, that all of this stuff was your choice. It was mine.
You held on to that. Yep.
It was mine. So any anger that I have left over, any residual hurt, anything, it's mine.
Yeah.
And I have to allow myself to feel it and let it go.
Yeah. And you have to allow yourself to go through the stages of grief and not get stuck at anger, because, there are 5 stages of grief. And, most people that I know, they stop at anger, because it's easier to be mad at and blame somebody else than to say, I played a part in that. Whether, I played directly in it or I ignored something, but either way it go, I played a part in that. And now it's my choice to remove my, accept my doing, acknowledge that I had a part with it, apologize to myself for even allowing myself to even go there, so that you can move on to the next stage. Getting stuck in anger I think that's like stage 2 out of 5 in the stages of grief. Every situation, whether it's a relationship, whether it's work, whether it's family, whether it's, projects or jobs, anything, you have to go through those stages of grief, or it will constantly have an emotional attachment to you.
And so what a lot of people don't realize, because this is what was happening with me, was I would skip those stages and just get to the over it stage.
Yeah. The end.
I would skip right. Oh, it's over. Okay. in. And
Right.
part of that has to do with the fact that I am a solutions person and not a problem person.
Right.
But you can't do that with everything. But then a year or two later, or 14 years later, you're doing completely okay, and all of a sudden you just feel like crying.
Yeah.
And you don't know why, but it's
Yeah.
something from 10 years ago.
Right.
Because,
or just the if somebody says this person's name, or if they show up, or if anything attached to that situation shows up, it's like, I shouldn't be feeling this way, and I'm not as over it as I thought I was.
How do I get over it? Yeah. That. So no, do better. Do better was it for me. I cried recording that song, and I left the crying in there and just edited around it and put it where I needed it to go. But I left it in there.
Yeah, because a lot of people usually will run from those emotions because it's like, nope, I can't deal with that because it's gonna bring about and it's gonna make me do. You have to go through that. You can't go around it. You can't stop in the middle of it. You can't go back. You need to go through that to get to the other side.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. So amazing. So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and play the next song. Again, he doesn't know what I chose, but I chose a clip to another song on his second project, Professor XEX. And here it is. I hope y'all enjoy it.
Cross my fingers. I hope it's what I think it is.
I just wanted to see if he was happy without me.
Oh, no, this is Do Better.
He was.
Oh, it's Do Better?
This is it.
There you go.
I'm happy you happy. You remember that one time we, yeah, you remember.
There it is.
Damn. It was supposed to be me and you. Having to cope with them things that you said. It's been 8 years and you still in my head. I understood you then, but my tears still shed. And I spent 2 whole fucking weeks in bed. And I still got this love that we made. And now nobody's gonna get this love, I'm afraid. I pawn it off on strangers, a promiscuous parade. I do anything to feel something other than this pain. And do you remember why we broke up? You said I gave you life, but that life was not enough. You said I was your happiness, but that I was a crutch. You held me in your arms tight, I'm longing for your touch as I kissed you in front of your home. I didn't want to hold you back, I knew that would be wrong, and didn't want to let you go. Your hold on me was strong. You had to go and find yourself and said I couldn't come, and we slow motion to your bedroom.
Yeah, I don't want to give y'all too much, y'all, but I forgot that I chose Do Better, but because I think it was at the bottom and I'm looking at the top. But that's crazy how the energy aligned, and I didn't even realize because it doesn't show me the name on this side.
Yeah,
but you talked about it, and the universe was like, "That's the one. That's the one.
That's
so
it. That is
just
my favorite.
that little clip. Definitely, and that's what it sounds like. Because when I first heard it, I said, "It sounds like he was in something that ended, but it was beautiful while you were together, but then it still had to end." Like as I listened to the song, it was like it still had to end.
You know what? It was definitely beautiful. It was definitely beautiful, and it ended. Here's. I can remember the last conversation we had, and I was crying, and my ex says, "Well, why are you crying? You said you understand." And I remember saying, I understand, but that doesn't mean that I have to like it.
Right.
It was like a death. I had to grieve it.
Right.
But I remember the reason it ended, I'm okay sharing this because I said it in the song, was that one person cannot be the only good thing going on in your life. I think that we all should strive to be happy everywhere because we all deserve to be happy overall.
Yeah.
Not just focus on this one thing that's making us happy while everything is kicking us in the back of the head.
Right.
Because we still feel that. And so that particular person expressed, hey, I love what we have, but this is all I have. And that's not enough.
Yeah.
You know, what do you do when a person tells you I love you, but it's not enough?
Yeah.
Initially, and like my first thing was, damn, I'm not enough.
Right, because you automatically blame yourself. Like, what more can I do? What more can I give? Yeah, you automatically
blame yourself. But
yeah.
it had absolutely nothing to do with me.
Nothing
to do with me. It still hurt. It still hurt.
Yeah,
but it had
because you felt like you probably were doing everything and you probably were doing everything that you could.
Exactly.
But because it had nothing to do with you, and he needed more.
Exactly.
He wanted more. He was looking for more. And
Career.
it didn't necessarily mean he needed or wanted more people or another person.
Yeah,
when you find somebody who knows who they are, there has to be more than just you.
Than just you. There has to be. You know, I just did a TikTok the other day. I made the statement that people say that, you know, a lot of people always say that relationships are supposed to be 50-50.
I saw that TikTok.
You saw that? And so I did the math. I said, if this relationship is 50-50, that means that it's only 100.
Right.
I can get 100 on my own.
By myself.
I don't need you to come in 50 to my 50 because I'm coming in 100. I need you to be 100 and I'm 100. So when you're a whole and I'm a whole.
Right.
Versus
and
you're
we
a part
exchange
and I'm
50% of each other to each other, we're still 100%.
We're still 100%.
Exactly.
But if all you're giving is 50.
Yep.
And all I'm giving is 50, it's not enough, you know?
It's not enough. It's not enough. And that's when I talk to a client of mine, one of my life coach clients, and I told him, I said, you have to look outside of yourself because this situation, your marriage is just not about you.
Yeah.
You have a wife, you have children. Your wife has a voice. You know, your wife is able to say how she feels and what she thinks and things like that. And your job is to be able to listen, to understand. You know what I'm saying? Don't listen to respond. I need you to understand where she's coming from. So when she's talking to you and she has an opinion about something, you need to listen to what's going on, or else, like I told him, and I told him straight up to his face, I said, you're going to lose your wife. I said, because the way that you're telling me that you interact with her, you're not allowing her to be 100% herself. You know what I'm saying? She's not able to be who she needs to be for this situation and for herself. She's busy trying to be who you need her to be.
Right.
Which is not fair for her. So yeah. Do better.
Do better. Do better.
Oh my God. So let's see what other question I got on here. I had a couple other questions, but we're about 45 minutes in already.
Wow.
So we'll talk about the troposphere now. So the troposphere, you know, it's when I first saw this troposphere, everybody, I'm gonna show y'all like a clip of it in a little while, but it explored and it said all the emotions, you know what I'm saying? It went in and took all the emotions and put it on paper. It made it realistic. When you're able to read a bunch of emotions, you forget that you actually have those emotions a lot of times, because I said, you know, a lot of people usually go happy, sad, or mad, you know. So what made you come up with the troposphere, and how has that helped you in your relationships and your music and just your day-to-day life? You know what I'm saying? Well, how did you come up with it?
I needed a way to navigate through my emotions. When I was in college, me and two of my friends, two of my best friends, we're still friends to this day. They surprised me when I released this album. But we used to say, write it down, read it out loud, light it up, and let it go.
And let it go.
And let it go. And so I took kind of that and I added it to kind of what I was doing. The tongue is powerful.
Yeah.
You know this. You know, you speak things into existence. But if you can speak things into existence, that means that you could not speak things out of existence.
Right.
Which is why typically we tend to forget that we have so many other emotions, because the only emotions we speak are anger, sadness, love, and happiness, you know. But there's so many different things. And so I wasn't sleeping. I needed to go and get help sleeping. So, you know, at one point I was taking antidepressants and and while those have their they have their purpose. To
Right.
me, the purpose wasn't to stay on them, but it was to help me figure out how to function without needing them.
Right. How to get back on the pattern that
how
you
can
didn't.
I get back on a pattern to where, and so I didn't know how I was feeling.
Yeah.
I was pretty numb. And I can tell you right now, no one human is numb.
Right.
Either we shut our feelings off, they're still there, so we still feel them.
Yeah.
We just shut the connection off so that we don't feel them.
Right.
Or we feel them. So
or we shut them off so we learn how to ignore them.
They're still there. You still feel that way.
Yeah.
That's what causes triggers. Ignoring your emotions causes triggers.
Yep. And just the way that the energy in the universe and things are, the way it operates, the more you ignore it, the more you're attracting it to you.
The more you attract it to you,
and then when and something's gonna happen where it just out of the blue, almost like a fluke, like somebody will pop up in your life, and it's like, I did not need that right now.
Right.
Even though you did need that, because you needed to go back and face those emotions that you learned how to ignore.
Yeah.
And the universe is like, well, since you're ignoring them, we don't do ignoring stuff around here. Let me throw this in your face.
Right.
It's gonna bring it all right from you.
So I needed to do that. And so I started with my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I know my mind.
Yeah.
And I stay in my mind, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I started there. Well, what's on your mind, Joe? How does that make you feel? Well, before you even start saying that stuff, because talking to yourself, some people can do that. I'm not. That's why I write, which is what led me into the being a lyricist and writing music and everything. I write. Yeah. So I would write down what was on my mind, and I would write down how it made me feel. And I would keep going until I couldn't think of anything else. And I saw a pattern. And that's when I realized, oh, you're feeling a lot more grief.
Yeah.
Than you think you are. You're feeling a lot more anger than you think you are. I was in college. I remember being so frustrated with myself because I was so angry and didn't know why.
Yeah.
Well, how can I deal with my anger? How can I attack it if I don't know?
If you don't know where it's coming from. Yeah. If you don't know where it's coming from.
Well, what's on your mind, Joe? This. And how does that make you feel? Angry. And what's this? Right. This. And how does it make you feel? Angry. So now I know my emotions are now tied to something else.
Exactly.
So let me work on these things. And then my emotions started to fall in place.
Yeah.
And so I shared that with a couple of friends of mine. And I remember writing kind of a summary of why this is important and what you can tell from it. And I said, I got to make it beautiful. I have to make this something that people want to look at. Emotions are very scary to deal with. And so if I would have made this document, if I would have made this packet not beautiful, I think a lot of people would probably be scared to attack it. But you have to understand, it's a visual representation of having that emotional rainbow. It gives you that emotional intelligence.
Yes, and while you talk about it, keep talking. I'm about to show y'all what he's talking about, because when I first saw it, I was intrigued, and I'm all about emotion. So if y'all are watching right now, would be the time. If you have not shared this video, share this live, because what I'm about to show y'all is fucking amazing.
Thank you.
Oh, keep talking. So you created the rainbow.
So I created the rainbow. I went researching what different emotions, how can I get those done? What represents those? A physical representation. A lot of times people will sit in the mirror, but they don't understand what their face is doing.
Right.
So how can I get that? What connects? Because a lot of times emotions are like colors. When you blend them, you get something completely different.
Exactly.
And so if I can put this in someone's face, if I can put this in my face, I can look at it. And even if I can't figure out how I'm feeling when I write it down, I can always reference this right here to say, I kind of feel like this when I think about that. Right. And so based on just kind of some of the research I did, some of the knowledge that I was bestowed on when I was in my undergrad program and everything like that, I determined that there are typically two people.
Right.
I want to say it right because I'm talking and I'm excited. But you have those who operate in the cloud, which I call the mental. God,
I think I got that too. What is that? Let me see.
So there's two.
The mental clouder and emotional stormer. Yeah.
The mental clouder, prime example, for the majority of my life, I've been operating in the mental cloud, which means that I had all of these triggers. When that ex came up and liked something, it triggered my emotional stuff. It wasn't mentally, because mentally I was over it. Emotionally, I wasn't. But it was because I had been operating solely in the cloud of what I think, right?
Right.
Typically, people who operate in their minds are people who are providers, single family, single parent families. Those single parents, those mental clouders have to put their emotions aside because they have to focus on other people.
Right.
Right. Well, the emotional thinkers, the emotional stormers.
Right.
The emotional.
He excited, y'all, because I was excited when
I'm excited.
I'm excited on the phone, and I looked at it. I was like, "Wait, who thinks of this and puts this on here like this?"
The emotional stormer, is a person that they're typically very what's the word? Volatile.
Okay.
Think about tornadoes, and typically they operate in their emotions. They'll use the terms "I feel," or you hurt my feelings, or I feel. It's always inward about their feelings. They don't take outside of their feelings and think, well, where is this other person coming from?
Right.
Those are people who are typically taken care of or nurtured or used to being nurtured.
Right.
And so they're stuck there. And so I say that it's important to find a happy medium between the two, operating as a mental clouder and as an emotional stormer. The thing about the emotional storm is if you are consistently operating in your emotional storms, you will an anomaly will happen, a hurricane. That's those people who are self-destructive.
Yeah.
They're operating in their emotions.
Yeah.
Not trying to attach those emotions or those raindrops, right, to the clouds that they're coming from.
And when you say the raindrops, I'm gonna bring that back up because it has raindrops on it. I want you to describe what like right here.
Okay.
Describe what that is to people who are watching.
So this worksheet right here, what you would do is, if the cloud that's there is shaped like a brain. Let's say that first.
Right.
But the cloud is shaped like a brain. But what you do is you write what you think inside of that cloud. What you think or what's on your mind will trickle down into your emotions. So when you write in that cloud what you feel or what you think, on the outside, on one of those raindrops, you write how that makes you feel.
Okay.
And so you go back to that mind in that cloud and you write something else that's on your mind and you come back out and write how that feels. And you just kind of tag team between the two. What you'll see is that there's going to be a pattern in what's on your mind and how it's making you feel.
Right.
Typically, the first thing that comes to your mind is going to be the first thing at the most forefront of what you're thinking. So like for me personally right now, the first thing on my mind today is work, my job, how it makes me feel anxious, angry, devalued or underappreciated. It's these things. And so then I will go on to what's next. Everything that is on my mind right now has to deal with work. Every emotion it's not good. That lets me know, okay, well, either you have to change something about this job or you have to leave that job. It gives me the reasoning why I need to make a decision versus me just making the decision because I felt like it.
Right. It brings logic and understanding to your emotions and why you feel it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you feel this way about something that you need to change, why do I feel this way?
Mm-hmm.
And it brings clarity. Like you said, you make sporadic crazy decisions and sporadic crazy decisions usually lead to regret.
Exactly. And so now if you know how you feel and you get rid of something, oh well, this person is on my mind, but it breaks my heart to be around this person, or they make me feel unworthy and blah 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 blah. Well, you get rid of that person, you don't ever have to wonder what if. You know this person made you feel like this.
Right.
It had to go because your happiness is your own responsibility.
Wait, say that again. Say it again.
Your happiness is your own responsibility.
Your own responsibility. So stop making that statement that say, I'm looking for somebody that's going to make me happy.
Yep.
That's a red flag if you go into a situation with that comment.
So.
Wow. So, oh gosh, we have explored a lot today. So all the emotions, and this is why I chose Mental Health and Music March is what I'm calling it, because this month, because I love music, I connect my feelings and emotions to a lot of music. So when I listen to music, I listen to, like I said, I'm a words person.
Yeah.
So I'm listening to the words. If these words mean something, or if it resonates to me somehow, then I'm like, this is some good music. And people are like, what you talking about? And I'm like, just shut up and listen to the words.
Yeah.
Because this is somebody's expressing their emotions, somebody expressing their feelings, somebody understands what I'm going through. And these people don't even know me.
I'll tell you my all-time favorite lyric from Do Better. I said, I still have this love that we made, right? Because when two people get together, they are making a love. They're making it. You make love, And so I said, I still have this love that we made, but now nobody's gonna get this love, and I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Right. And then I said, I pawn it off on strangers, a promiscuous parade. You think that line right there?
There's a lot when I like capital LOT, like all capital, bold, italics, and underline. A lot of people who do that, they're giving their all of their love to the wrong person,
to the wrong people, because they're afraid that nobody's gonna get it. If I leave this earth tomorrow, I will not have loved, and I think losing the greatest love is the biggest scare for most people, And
love is probably, if not the most, one of the most scary emotions. Because when you love somebody, when you fall in love, like you said, we make love, so we fall in love with a person. And when you're in love with somebody and they don't nurture it, or they don't care for it the way that it deserves to be cared for, you begin to become untrusting of other people with your love. So it's like, I can't trust you with my love, so let me not even love you. That's why you have the promiscuity. It's like, promiscuity. I don't have to love you to do what I'm doing with you.
Exactly.
And then you go through life, and then you realize that, and I was talking to somebody before, and it's like, you get to the point where these people are passing away. And usually, like in the way that my mind goes, when I see that, somebody has passed away, the first thing I think about, especially when it comes to people our age, is, did this person ever experience true love? Because being able to live your life and say that you experienced, not heard about, not read about, not watched the movies, you actually went through and you experienced somebody to nurture and care for your emotion of love the way that it deserves to, is a whole nother feeling. So my mind always goes to, I hope this person did not die without experiencing true love.
Without experiencing true love. An unconditional love.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. All the way wow. So we're about to close. So give everybody, I guess, a word of encouragement. Tell everybody where to find you. Tell everybody where to find the Troposphere, where we can find your information, because the music, the Troposphere, just let them know. Just tell them.
All right. Well, you can find me on Instagram at Schollar the Artist. It's Schollar with 2 L's. You got to make sure you put those 2 L's in. You can also find the emotional troposphere at scholartheartist.com. It's there as a free download. This isn't something that I want to charge people for. I think everybody deserves to grow within their own emotional intelligence. You can get it there. I am also on Twitter acting a fool and an ass at Scholar the Artist as well. So that's where you can find me. All of my music, both projects are available on iTunes, Tidal, Spotify. It should be almost every platform except for I think is it SoundCloud? I don't have everything up there yet, which I'm working on getting everything up there. So that's where you can find the emotional troposphere. My encouraging words to you are to dive into those emotions that you are afraid to feel, because you will never learn all of who you are if you keep running from putting yourself in places you don't want to be.
Okay, come on. Encouragement. And I just added the website scholartheartist.com on the comment section for those who are on Facebook Live with us. Everybody else who did not get an opportunity to see this will be available on podcast at midnight. And if you get to see the video, I need you to experience this video. So make sure y'all share this video with somebody, because I feel like mental health and music march is huge, because more people are connected through music than we know. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a form of writing, it's a form of expression. So y'all know me, I could be long-winded. That was the show today. It was freaking amazing. Thank you for coming on today, Scholar the Artist, or as I know him, Joe. I know him as Joe.
Yep.
His mom call him Joe. I'm gonna call him Joe. But other than that, y'all know my tagline: drink your water and mind your own bald-headed business. And I will see y'all next week, where we have another artist. I'm gonna go every week this month, because mental health and music is big to me. So y'all take care. Make sure you explore life and enjoy life. It's all about life, love, and lessons over here. See y'all later. Bye.